Hello, friends. Welcome back. My name is Julia. My pronouns are they, them, and I am a cross stitcher, nurse, activist, knitter, sometimes designer. uh, originally from the United States, now living in Ontario, Canada. And welcome back. Um, just wanted to thank you for spending time with me today. I got a couple of really sweet shout outs, one from Coffee Stitcher and one from Mrs. Stitches, and I got a handful of new subscribers, which I feel is like related to those shout outs. So thank you both very much. If you're new here, welcome. And I really appreciate that you're taking the time to spend with me here today. I know there's a lot. There's a lot on Flosstube. There's a lot on YouTube, and yeah, thanks for picking me. I'm hoping it's a relatively brief video today. I have this notion that if I film a bit more frequently, it's a little easier because there's less stuff to gather. There's less planning to do. Famous last words. So let's get into it. It's Tuesday, January the 20th, 2026. Happy New Year. It's been a hell of a year so far, eh? Yeah, it's hell of a start to the year. I don't know what else to say that is helpful on that front. Other than, if you're in the States, do not obey in advance. Don't do that. No. Let's get started, eh? I'm going to start with knitting, just because that's the first thing I wrote down on my notes. Not too much to show you. I am knitting a hat for my partner Josh, and I am knitting the Erin watch cap, which is found in this book, Hats On by Charlene Church. There are lots of fun hats in this book. I have only ever knit the Erin watch cap, and I have knit the Erin watch cap, I think I'm currently on my 4th time knitting that sucker. Now, the only one issue I have with this book is that the photos are not the best. Like, I can point out the Erin watch cap to you. You can go, this isn't a terrible picture of the Erin watch cap. It looks like this. It's got sort of a it got kind of a Gainsy feel to it, but not really, because Gainsy patterns don't often have cables in. But it's got cables and these panels of seed stitch and just these panels of stockinette stitch with a little purl ridge every 6 rows or so, and just a 1x1 brim. Love the pattern. Love knitting it. I knit this for my father-in-law. I knit one for my grandfather. I knit one for Josh a few years ago, and I knit with wool, and it somehow got put in the wash. What I actually mean is Josh accidentally put it in the wash. I don't know why. So But he really loves the hat, loves the pattern. So I'm knitting it again, and I want to show you this yarn first. If I can find my notes. Yeah. So this is out of South America. And it's not normally the sort of yarn that I would choose to knit a hat like that out of. Because as you can see, it's got a halo. But somehow it's working. So this is, the brand is Illumani. This type, I guess this type of yarn is called Amelie. And it is in the colorway ZL62, which is a bewitching name, right? And the fiber content is mulberry silk, baby alpaca, and merino. And I just want you to have a look at the yarn itself, how sturdy this is going to be, if it will focus. The yarn has been chained, like, can you see how it's almost its own fabric? So I think that is the silk, and probably some merino, and then the halo is from the baby alpaca. Super, super soft. Again, when I'm knitting something that has a distinct stitch pattern, I tend to avoid a yarn that has a halo because it tends to make the stitch pattern less crisp. Something about this yarn, and I think it's because the chained part of it is lighter than the halo. So it's just making them more distinct, and you can really tell on the seed stitch bits. So here's where I am. Gauge was a little fussy with this yarn. I had to go down to a size, sorry folks, my metric is all messed up right now. A size 5 US. I will write below what that is, you know, in metric, the rest of the world. So in order to get gauge, I went down a couple of needle sizes, and also I opted to knit this in size medium. And so I think that's gonna fit on Josh's head really well. And I knit quite a bit of the brim because Josh likes quite a long brim, because he likes to be able to cover his ears completely. And so this should give him plenty of play to do that. The color's pretty true. I want to say it's a little softer blue than it's showing up on there. It's not like a baby blue. It's very sort of like a not quite ripe blueberries maybe. But it's not a periwinkle. So that is pretty much the only thing I'm working on knitting wise. I have a pair of ribbed socks that I need to get back to, and it's really just a matter of going back to the pattern, figuring out where I was, because I stopped knitting like right in the middle of a German short row heel, which isn't a new technique for me. So I need to kind of, it's going to take me 5 minutes. It really is. I've been putting it off for like 2 weeks, and it's going to take me 5 minutes to figure out where I was and then get going again. And then I have been spinning. Today is a Tuesday, so I've been spinning today. I decided the other week that Tuesdays are for spinning. And I showed you last time this wonderful Shetland wool I purchased, I think about 58 grams from Windweft. And if you're interested, I can put their email. They don't really have a web presence, so I will put their email address in the box below if you're interested in sourcing any yarn or fiber from them. So here is some that I'm working with right now that I just pulled off the bat. It's like an oatmeal colored Shetland wool. It's gorgeous, it's soft, it's bouncy, the crimp is beautiful. It's nice and rustic. There's still some VM in there, which I think adds some lovely character to yarn. I don't mind a little vegetable matter. So this is about 2 weeks worth of spinning on my new Ashford drop spindle that Josh got me for Hanukkah. And it does kind of feel like riding a bike. I have not used a drop spindle in nearly a decade. But I'm pretty pleased. It's not perfect yarn, but it doesn't need to be perfect. I'm still just getting in the groove. So yeah, happy with that. I'd like to get all of the bat onto the spindle, and then I think I'd like to do a 2-ply yarn with it. See how much I get. Do a swatch, see what I can figure out to do with it. Something small. Stitching, cross stitching. 12 minutes in. Okay, we can do this. So you may remember last time I said that my friend Ann P, who has a podcast called The Emporium of Forgotten Threads here on Flosstube, was kind of doing a little bit of a rebrand and trying to come up with some fun ways to sort of do some community building. And so every month she has sort of a crafting prompt as well as a book. So it's like a book club and a crafting club. The theme that's kind of, I think we're revisiting all year is this idea of memory, creating memories, coming back to things. And I chose to start 2 new projects that if you wanted to participate, which really there's no time limit, hop in whenever. If you've got a whip that's been languishing for years, and you know, maybe it has some good memories tied up, or maybe some not so good memories you need to work through, just pulling that out and working toward finishing it. I chose to start 2 new things. One is the Temperature Quaker pattern by Sarah Stitchin' Mommy, because my family moved to Ontario in June, and I thought it would be fun in 2026 to have sort of a temperature piece to represent our first calendar year here in our new home. I'm trying to find something that I can put behind this fabric because the fabric is very see-through. So Temperature Quaker by Stitchin' Mommy, it looks like that. And I stitch on this on Saturday mornings. I collect temperatures all week and then stitch them on Saturdays. So here's where we are so far. The lighting is terrible. I need to, it's winter, what can I tell you? So this is just a 28 count white linen I got at Michael's using the DMC threads. And I really apologize for the lighting. So you can see that this light purple here, that is the coolest color in the pattern. So all temperatures, all days with represented by that particular color, the temperature was -11 degrees Celsius or below. So we started out the year super, super cold. It warmed up a teensy bit. I think this green here, I think that was 7 degrees Celsius. And then we've been getting cold again. So that is Temperature Quaker so far. And it's really relaxing. Just start your Saturday, have coffee, you know, collect your temperatures, see what colors you're going to stitch with, and it doesn't take very long. So that'll be, I'm looking forward to seeing how that progresses as the year goes on. I will put that back in its container later. The second memories project I chose was to start this this cross stitch. It's called Forever and Ever. It is by Cottage Garden Samplings. It is the first in their Songbirds Garden series. Lots of people have stitched this. Jessie of Jessie Marie does stuff, if I recall. She is stitching, I think, the whole series. I believe she has finished this one. Now, I decided that, wait, I apologize, getting ahead of myself. Why am I stitching this? This is a memorial piece from my maternal grandparents. I said last time that I purchased this about 8 years ago when my pap, my maternal grandfather, passed away. Because I saw it and I knew that when my Nana followed him, that this would help me work through that loss, losing them, because they had a tremendous impact on my life. So that's why this, and I have broken the pattern up into 12 sections, just 12 horizontal rows going down. They're about 13 stitches tall. In the middle, there's a section that is 14 stitches tall, and at the bottom, the very last one, is 15 stitches tall. But for the most part, it's equal. And the goal is to have this done in December. So I am stitching this all in using Roxy Floss Co. supplies. Totally new for me. I wanted to shop a Canadian company, and so we chose Roxy Floss Co. Now, I am terrible with color theory. Terrible, horrible, can't do it. Probably why all of my designing efforts are not so great. My partner is amazing. He's got an eye. He's a computer engineer. I have no idea what happened there. Anyway, so Josh, as a Hanukkah gift to me, looked at the called for flosses on this pattern, pulled them up so he could see photos of what they looked like, and then pulled up Roxy Floss Co. and just figured out a conversion. These need a floss ring. I will buy one of those later. But I think he knocked it out of the park, honestly. I'm not showing them off all right. They're all kind of rolling in on each other. And then the linen he chose is called Cloud Break. and the lighting is not doing this justice. It's a 36 count linen. I'm stitching 1 thread over 2. And I have finished January's section. And I think it's looking beautiful so far. So when I said I'm stitching it in horizontal sections, this is what I mean. So that's the whole top of the chart. And I am pleased with it so far. I got a new needle minder, by the way, because I wanted sort of a love themed needle minder, and I'm not normally a fuzzy love themed person, but for my grandparents it just felt right. So I went on to Etsy and I found a Canadian shop called Out Handmade. The owner's name is Kaylee, and she had this cute enamel needle minder that's just 2 little otters floating together holding hands. I don't know if that's focusing. But I thought that was perfect. So I purchased that, and because I didn't want to just pay for shipping for 1 little needle minder, I got a second one. It says, I pray thee be patient, for I hail from the 1900s. Which is spot on. So I will link this shop in the description below. Very small business. Keely, I think is the name of the owner, sent me a lovely handwritten note with this and the other one. So I'm like to kick some more business their way, because every time you buy something from a small business, like a really small business, the business owner does a little happy dance. And sometimes if that person is me, for example, I pick up my cat and give him kisses and dance him around. He doesn't like that. So anyway, so that's generally what happens. Okay, so that's the Emporium of Forgotten Threads. That was January for that. I want to move on to Milestone Manor right now. Milestone Manor is the brainchild of Jessie from Jessie Marie Does Stuff, essentially gamifying getting your big whip stitched. Jessie has done a whole video on it explaining it. A couple of other people have as well. I sort of did last time, explained you how I'm playing the game. Very low tech. Now, if you want to see how the game is played in a really, what's the word I'm looking for? A really thorough, fun, easy to understand way, like if just having someone just talk at you, if you don't learn that way. Marika, over in Sweden, her, not today's video, last week's video, going through her first round of Milestone Manor, she did an excellent job of kind of giving you visuals. I really liked the way she did it. I don't know if everyone did. I think it's definitely a different style of Flosstube video. I thought it was great fun. Marika is also very tech savvy. And as you can see, I got a folder. It's got paper in it, very low tech. So my kiddo is helping me because I have chosen 9 patterns. I don't know where they all are. I printed out this clue game board, and I gave my list of my whips to my 15-year-old, and in pencil she wrote each whip in a room and covered it with a Post-it note so that I can be surprised. I started in the hallway with the gamer because that is the project that I want to get the most done on this year. And putting it in the hallway means that I will be stitching it a lot. So I started with the gamer in the hall, and I rolled the dice, and I, the first time, had to put in 1,800 stitches into the gamer. The last time you saw the gamer, she looked like this. And 1,800 stitches later, she looks like this. So I ended up losing a health point because I did all the stitching, but I did not meet any milestones. I didn't finish the page. No big milestone in terms of percentage of the pattern stitched. And this one is particularly difficult to figure out all those milestones because it is a paper pattern, and it is charted in a different way than the PDF patterns that are now available, because this was charted by Gecko Rouge, and now this chart is only available from Medusa Dollmaker, which is great because Medusa Dollmaker is the artist who drew this, so they should be getting the money, right? But anyway, I'm working with paper and highlighters and a calculator. So this is a challenge, but we're getting it done. You know, I'm always pleasantly surprised when I do an update on this because, you know, when you're stitching on a full coverage, you're kind of like laser focused on this tiny little area of it, right? And then, but when you actually want to show somebody and kind of look at it with soft eyes and just have a look at the big picture, I'm very happy with it. This is being stitched on a 25 count Lugano 1/1 full cross. So that's the first Milestone Manor project I picked up. It took me a little over a week just with counting and everything to get 1,800 stitches done on this because I also had other things to do and a little bit of an attention span issue. I'm sure many of you can relate to that. My second Milestone Manor project, as you can see, is I decided that I was going to go over to the lounge. And the lounge is home to Quick Stitch Iris, which is, the last time you saw it, it looked like that. Quick Stitch Iris is charted by a company that I no longer purchase from, but I think you can find it easily. This is what 450 stitches. No, I'm sorry, 650. I had to do 650 stitches on QS Iris. That is what my dice roll told me. So I've been choosing a color in the first page and then kind of extreme cross-countrying it everywhere. I ended up finishing one color completely. So I started in on a second color. So I was working mainly over here and down. And I didn't think that I was going to get a milestone. I thought I was going to take another, I would have to give up another health point. But then when I looked at my stitching and I looked at Pattern Keeper, I actually surpassed 25% on this. It was like 23% when I started stitching, and now it's at 25.2%. So I got an XP. And that's fun, right? So then this goes away for a little bit, which means I'm back in the hallway, which means it's time for this one to come out and play. The dice told me yesterday that I need to put in 450 stitches on this. And I did a bunch of counting. 450 stitches is not going to finish this page, unfortunately. So I know when I finish that, I'm gonna take another hit. But the good news is the third time this comes out, I'm pretty confident that the number of stitches I have to do will allow me to at least get that page finished. And if I'm lucky, this page here is not 100% complete. There are some ninja stitches in, and I had a little mistake in here that I need to try to figure out. But I think not this time, but the next time I work on this, I'm actually going to get 2 page finishes, which would be nice, right? Famous last words. Now that I've said that, my cat's going to come in here and puke on it or something, and it'll be ruined. So that, going forward, this is my current Milestone Manor project again. Where is my notebook telling, here it is. The notebook telling you what I'm doing. Next is just the January, February Emporium of Forgotten Threads prompts. The prompt is something gothic, a whip that either has sort of like a gothic, spooky, unsettling theme. And obviously you can be as broad with that definition as you want, or a whip that scares you, or start a new project, maybe a new craft that scares you. I am not 100% sure what I'm choosing yet. So to be decided on that one. I have a couple of thoughts, really just technique things, like learning the fish lips kiss heel in knitting. I don't know why, that just intimidates the hell out of me. But that might be what I end up doing. But stay tuned. That's not set in stone. The book Anne recommends reading is a book that I have read before and loved, which is Mexican Gothic by Silvia Morena Garcia. It's so good. It's been a few years since I've read it. And it's extra gothic for me because I was working night shift at the time. And so I would leave for work and it was dark outside, and I would listen to the audiobook of it, for half an hour on my way to work. So it was atmospheric in a different way. Wonderful storytelling, great imagery, trigger warning for some messed up consent sexually, some sexual assault, implied sexual assault, body horror, gaslighting. But it's handled in a classy way, I guess. It's one of those books where their subjects are in the book, but it's very clear that the author is writing it to be honest, not writing it just to put something shocking in the book, if that makes sense. So I already read that and mentioned another couple of books that we could read if either we couldn't find Mexican Gothic, if we've already read Mexican Gothic. I'm still deciding. There's an author she recommends called T. Kingfisher. So I'm probably going to hunt down one of those. After I finish my current read, which is just something that I'm reading because I want to. It's this almost 900-page chonker by Joe Hill called, I guess we're talking about books now, called King's Sorrow. I am that far. So I worked it out. I think if I read, starting yesterday, if I read 80 pages a day, I will have this be finished by Friday evening, which would be great, because then I can pick up something else. Probably something small. I do not know what yet. This is an excellent book. I love Joe Hill. Now I say it's excellent. Please note that I have about 300 pages left to go. It is about 6 friends who meet in college in 1990, that school year. And they get sort of interested in the occult. One of them has a wealthy grandfather who's interested in the occult and measuring paranormal activity. Another one of these friends is being blackmailed and extorted by some local drug dealers, and they hurt him very badly and are making him do terrible things. And he eventually confesses that this is happening to his circle of friends. And in order to help him out, they end up summoning a dragon. And vanquishing, to vanquish this guy's foes. And it turns out to be a very Faustian bargain, because meddle not in the affairs of dragons, for you are crunchy and good with ketchup. So it turns out that every year this group of friends has to choose another person to die, to be sacrificed to King Sorrow. And if they don't pick, one of them has to die. So this book starts in 1989, 1990. It picks up again in like 1994 and again in 2000. And then I think, was it 2010? I just started a new section. Yeah, and then in 2006, in 2016, and then I think there's like a little epilogue that goes a little longer. It's very reminiscent of Stephen King's It, in terms of you've got this group of friends battling this enormous supernatural force, but you get to know each one of these friends very intimately. So there's you get to know them individually as well as seeing them all together as friends. So that's kind of a fun take on that. 5 stars so far. As I said, I got 300 pages. Like it could go downhill from there. I'm not expecting it to. So if what I've told you sounds like something that either you would be interested in trying or sounds like it's normally right up your alley, give it a read. Give it a read. It's a chonker, but worth it. After this, I'm not entirely sure. I recently purchased Anthony Hopkins' memoir because I love Anthony Hopkins. And that looks like it would be a fairly, I don't want to say it's going to be a light reading, but it's a lot shorter than this guy. So we'll see. And I also have a few books over here that my daughter suggested. So that which I will be reading at some point, because one of my reading goals this year is to read a book that, at least one book that my daughter recommended. So I think that's all I have today. 40 minutes. I didn't expect it to go this long, but hey ho, I ramble. Just double check. Yep, that's all I had. That's all I had. Yeah. So I hope that you've been getting some good crafting, some good stitching, knitting, spinning, diamond painting, crocheting, whatever you do. I hope you have been doing that, and that has been just helping you get through the world out there. I hope you've been reading good books. I hope you've been taking care of yourself. Yeah, if no one's told you yet today, you matter, and the world's a better place with you in it. And I will see you in a couple of weeks, my friends. Take good care. Bye.